Welcome back, everyone. It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for our Top 4 in 4 countdown, where I review the top 4 stories of the week in 4 minutes. These headlines consist of the news stories that everyone is talking about. Let's begin. Well, since everyone's talking about it, here it goes. Headline number 4, Angelina will soon be no more. The news broke this week about the impending divorce of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. We still don't know much about this Hollywood mini earthquake, but theories and rumors continue to shake the landscape. For instance, rumor has it Brad Pitt is being investigated after being accused of verbal and physical abuse against his children. What we do know, and what we've always known, nobody can say what's going on in another person's marriage. Also, divorce is bad for children, and a celebrity divorce with its attendant shouting headlines and conflicting leaks could be worse unless the parties involved keep their heads. And on a much more serious note, North Carolina's largest city under a state of emergency after another night of violence over the police killing of a black man. The governor has ordered the National Guard to Charlotte, where thousands of workers at Bank of America's downtown headquarters were told to stay home Thursday. For the third straight night, the streets of Charlotte erupted in violence as protesters clashed with police over the death of 43-year-old Keith Lamont Scott. One person was shot during one of the protests, who city officials initially said had died, but they backtracked and now say he is on life support. We're told Charlotte police never fired that shot. Police ordered the crowds to disperse after some protesters started damaging businesses. Officers fired tear gas and flash grenades, but hundreds of people remained well after midnight. 4 officers suffered non-life-threatening injuries, and at least 3 civilians were hospitalized. The Federal Justice Department is still determining whether or not they will open an investigation into Scott's death. On to the next incident of unrest in this country. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, Terrence Crutcher was shot and killed by Officer Betty Shelby, who had been responding to a report of a stalled vehicle. Crutcher is black, Shelby is white. Police say Crutcher did not have a weapon on him or in his sport utility vehicle. Investigators on Tuesday said they found the drug PCP in Crutcher's car. But his family's attorney said the drug discovery does not justify the shooting, and it's also unclear if Crutcher was on the drug during the incident. Police helicopter video shows Crutcher walking toward his car with his hands up. Police say he was not cooperating and said another officer even used a taser on him before Shelby fired one shot. Shelby's attorney said Crutcher reached out for something on Tuesday night. Around 200 protesters gathered outside the Tulsa Police Department, many of them chanting, "Fire Betty." Shelby was placed on paid administrative leave. She also faces a manslaughter charge. The Department of Justice will investigate. Now on to a much lighter note. Here's headline number 1. And no, I'm not making this up to justify my curves, but it turns out if you've gone shopping lately and found nothing fits you, it's not you. According to a recent study in the International Journal of Fashion Design, Technology, and Education, the average American woman now wears between a Mrs. size 16 and 18, which actually translates to women's plus size 20. If you compare recent studies done by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to the international clothing standards, the data that suggests the average woman is a size 14 is nearly a decade old. This means that more than half of American women probably get stressed out while shopping because chances are their size is not there. So while the smaller clothing size, style, and figure may be desirable, it's not reality. Whether more designers and major brands will expand their sizing to 16, 18 remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, the average American woman is waiting. Power to the curves. Now, I'm not an expert on fashion or size standards, but I do know one thing that fits. You, our viewer, watching Sunrise each and every morning. Be sure to join me next week. I'll be counting down a new list of interesting stories and headlines that everyone is talking about. We'll be right back.